been a few days since the battle. Hopefully the tribes are getting back to normal. The Flower Feather clan was hit the hardest, right? That's Chaska's tribe. Maybe we should check how everyone's doing. We might be able to help them out. Wait, isn't that Anson? Wonder what she's doing here.
I brought all the stuff over, Coach. What's next?
辛苦了，先休息一会儿，之后开工。你们两个负责修缮北面的房屋，你们去西边。来的时候，我听到脚下的木头发出吱嘎的声响，整条路都需要加固。
All right, I'll start by moving the boxes over.
I'll help you. These things can get pretty heavy.
Nah, I got this. These muscles aren't just for show, you know. You see that? Perfectly defined. I can lift this stuff up with one hand.
Fine, as long as you don't wind up too sore to move tomorrow. I don't want to hear any complaints from you.
Just prepare to be amazed. What? My back.
新人总要吃点苦才能成长。你扶他去休息，顺便帮他把药敷上。这几天先不要乱动，避免2次受伤。下次别逞强了，恢复好再来帮忙吧。
I knew I should have trained harder.
干活和运动是两码事，需要慢慢体会。还有空余的人手吗？木托塔首领需要我们帮忙。
Anson!
旅行者派蒙，这么巧，你们也来了。
We were just about to ask you the same thing. We didn't expect to run into you in these parts.
沃路之邦受损不大，已经重修完毕了。我听说花语会这边情况比较严重，就过来帮忙。路上正好遇到了我们部族的商队，这几位是我的学员，我就带他们一起来了。记得很清楚嘛，看来你们对运动也很感兴趣。要我帮你们做一个特别的锻炼计划吗？你的身体素质相当不错，不管是竞技战斗还是极限运动，应该都能完美胜任。不过派蒙嘛，最近是不是又胖了？
What? There's nothing wrong about Paimon's current meal plan. Like today, Paimon just had some blazed meat stew, fried shrimp bean balls, sour sauce kipper, and stuffed and mashed potatoes. That's practically nothing.
看来情况不容乐观。改天我做些特调苦味蔬菜汁给你。
Kale juice? Wait, isn't that your favorite drink, Trevor? If Eonson's going to make some for free, Paimon would feel terrible if you won't get to try it.
好了，先不说这个。我刚到花语会的时候，部族首领说有事拜托我，还特地嘱咐我多带点人。你们现在有空吗？如你所见，由于一些意外情况，我现在比较需要帮助。
Of course, we're also here to help. Let's go see the chief.
太好了，那我们走吧。木头塔首领，我们来了。
You're here, Eon-san. And you must be the traveler in Paimon. I've heard a lot about you. I'm sure we'll have a much better time now with your help.
长话短说，您身后的是花语会的战士吗？他们这是
Cold. So cold. Duarte, are you there? I'm drowning, and there's something in the water!
He's on the ground, but it almost looks like he's trying to swim.
The abyss. The abyss is coming. There are eyes in my hands, and hands in my stomach, and my stomach is full of teeth. It ate all of you. It's coming for me too.
But we haven't been eaten. We're right here.
Huh. Monstrous beasts! How did you get in here?
As you can see, their mental state is quite poor. They went missing after the battle. We found them in the wilderness in the days that followed, but the damage had already been done. We found them unconscious in areas corrupted by abyssal tumors, lying next to their deceased comrades. My only guess is that something terrible must have happened during the battle. According to the chief of the Masters of the Nightwind, sudden exposure to a large amount of abyssal power can have mental as well as physical repercussions. We've never seen the effects this heightened before, but maybe Gasoithoth was just too powerful.
Gasoithoth? What's that?
It's the abyssal monster that appeared in the sky not too long ago. After consulting our ancient legends, we decided to call it Gasoithoth, Reaper of the Abyss.
Oh, that giant black ball? Didn't we force it to retreat, though?
True. It poses no threat to us now, but whatever wound it inflicted on these warriors still endures. We scoured all sorts of records for a solution, but nothing came of it. There was some mention of a treatment from several hundred years ago, but that knowledge is long gone.
Right! You can purify abyssal power! Might as well give it a try! It didn't work?
That must mean purifying the abyssal power within them still isn't enough. In any case, thank you for trying.
So, what can we do now? Don't tell me my friend is just gonna be like this forever?
Come back to me, Gogeta! Please, don't leave me like this!
We beat Gasoithoth! They survived the battle! Are we really just gonna sit back and watch them lose their minds?
当然不能就这么看着，
What is it, Aeon-san?
一个一个解决吧。首先，不要再让他们聚集在这里了，气氛只会越来越糟。先解散，让他们去各自觉得舒适的地方。我和旅行者派蒙找他们聊聊。
But,
Are you sure about this?
我知道大家都很不安，不过眼下也没有什么更好的办法，不是吗？那就先行动起来，成功也好，失败也好，总要试过了才知道。都别愣着了，让一让，放他们离开，然后派人跟着，别跟太紧，知道他们的动向就好。好了，该我们出发了。就像我说的，找他们单独聊聊吧。情况确实不容乐观，不过我相信战士们一定可以恢复正常。我们已经跨过了无数困难，这次也一样。走吧。
Wait, we haven't seen Chaska around here. Where is she?
She's busy clearing out the remaining monsters and tracking down missing warriors. She was the one who brought Otoko back from the wilderness. Many warriors are still out there, unconscious or injured, unable to make it back to the tribe. With Chaska's help, we can prevent a lot of unnecessary deaths.
Looks like he's not going anywhere. I don't know why, but he's looking at us with such hatred. Anyway, please don't let me keep you. I'll stay here and keep an eye on him.
It's all right, my boy. Papa's here.
さっき寒いって言ってた人がいただろ。覚えてる？地面の上で溺れるなんて普通はないことだし、まずはそいつに会ってみよう。
找到了，你能听见我的声音吗？
So dark, so cold. I wanna go home.
好，你等一会儿，我们这就带你回来。沃鲁之邦带来的物资中应该有木料，我在想，点起篝火说不定会有效果。
啊？
又暗又湿又冷，最适合烤火了吧？生火，让他的身体暖和起来，他看到的世界或许也会变得不同。我去拿柴火，你们在这等我一会儿。
Light. Underwater. Where is it coming from?
It's working!
Is someone there? Please save me. No, wait. You have to leave this place. The water's too deep. You won't make it.
别担心，我们这里有流泉之众的朋友，他们的水性你应该很了解。放轻松，我们来救你了。
No, please. Just leave me. Duarte.
Oh no, it's not working anymore!
看来只有篝火还不够。他不止一次提到德乌特这个名字，或许可以从这里入手。我们去附近打听一下。
I'm drowning.
My friend, is he any better?
我们正在想办法。不过现在有一个问题，你听说过德乌特吗？
Duarte? Oh yeah, I remember. Duarte was the name of Otoko's Surian companion. Otoko almost drowned as a child, and Duarte was the one who saved him. He dove deep into the water and used all his strength to carry Otoko back to the surface. It was pretty touch and go, but both of them made it in the end.
既然这样，如果我们将他带过来，
Well, you see, Duarte died 4 years ago during an Abyss invasion. He was helping evacuate injured warriors from the front lines, but fell to an ambush. He was a bit on the smaller side, but other than that, he was just your average Kukasaur. Well, hold on. What are you planning?
看你的表情，应该是想到好办法了吧？那我们就开始行动。另外，多谢你提供的线索，我们会想办法让你的朋友恢复正常。
No problem. Thank you for looking out for him. If only Duarte was still alive.
Whoa! Are you the traveler in Paimon?
Sure are, you know us?
Everyone in Natlan does. I heard you're gonna fight alongside the Pyro Archon in the final battle. Good luck!
We're back! How are you feeling?
Duarte? How did you get here? Are you here to save me?
It's working!
嘘，接下来怎么办？
You sense it, don't you? This place is dangerous. Still. Hearing you make that noise reminds me of our first few battles together. You were such a little thing back then. And I also had no idea what I was doing.
等下，轻一点。
That hurt. Duarte, you have to get out of here. There's something in the water. You're gonna carry me out of here just like last time. Over a decade later, and you're still trying to save me. I can't believe you made it this deep underwater, but I'm so glad you found me. Once we're out of here, let's split a huge portion of blazed meat stew, just like old times. I owe you for this. We're almost at the surface. People tried to tell me you were dead, you know. As if I'd let that happen. I promised to protect you. There's no way. No way. No. Wait. I failed.
不好，他开始起疑了。
Duarte? Wait, you're not Duarte. How did I get here? Who are you people?
Toko!
He's Kaylee. What's going on? All I remember is the battle against the Abyss, and then I was drowning. And a Saurian that looked like Duarte saved me. How did I get here? You went through all that for me? While all I did was cause trouble for everyone? I'm so sorry.
这绝不是你的错。虽然由我来说未必合适，但是不要太苛责自己。不仅仅是这次的事情，德乌特的事也一样。
Thank you. I appreciate that.
好好休息，拜托你照顾他了。
Wait, the battle. What happened? Did we beat that giant abyss monster?
Hey, don't worry. We won.
Thank goodness.
どうやらみんなを元に戻す鍵は心の奥底で大切にしてるものにあるみたいだな。彼らにとってそれは最後の種火なんだろう。今回の経験を生かせば次はもっとスムーズにいくはずだ。さあ、肩の力を抜いて頑張ってこう。
It's coming for me. It's gonna eat me. 不要怕，古斯托特被打败了，现在没有任何东西会伤害你。It's no use. It'll just come back. Nothing can stop it. Nothing can stop the abyss. It will devour everyone. One day, we'll all be reunited in the pit of its stomach.
Maybe it's just Paimon, but she seems to be in even worse shape than Atoko. She can talk to us, but nothing she says makes any sense. She also seems really afraid.
害怕。没错，我也有同样的感觉。是在对抗深渊的过程中产生了恐惧吗？还是像阿图科一样，是内心根深蒂固的恐惧被深渊放大了呢？还是老办法，我们到附近找人打听一下他的过去吧。
Ion-san, I heard you cured Atoko? I'm so relieved. Is there anything I can do to help? If you need extra hands, I can...
木托塔首领，来得正好，我们想找你了解一下他的情况。
I think you're onto something. The mental distress does seem to be connected to pre-existing fears and anxieties. Kochita doesn't like it when people talk about her past. But the situation is urgent. So, I guess I'll be the bad guy. Ion-san, Do you believe there are people in this world destined for battle?
有，就像我教导学员的时候，偶尔也会有这个人是为这种运动而生的感觉。
Then, what about people destined to be unfit for battle?
什么意思？
When Conchita was little, her parents died fighting the Abyss. She was only 11 or 12 at the time, and her brother, even younger still. The two saw their parents collapse in a pool of blood as flames roared and spread all around them. Conchita trained hard to become a warrior, but still found fighting Abyss monsters too difficult to handle. She and her brother were left with severe trauma after the incident. Pain and fear that they could not get over no matter what.
But isn't Conchita one of the warriors who fought the Abyss? Didn't you find her unconscious out on the field?
Yes, we did. You see, something changed within her several years ago when the Abyss attacked our tribe and broke into her home. By the time the guards rushed to the scene, they found her standing there, weapon outstretched, hands trembling. Her brother huddling behind her for safety, and the Abyss monster dead at her feet. She didn't even look at it, and just kept repeating the same thing over and over. You're the only family I have left. I won't let anything happen to you. She became a completely different person after that. She earned a reputation as a very capable warrior, and fought countless battles against the Abyss. We all thought she overcame the trauma, and we were so happy for her. But now it seems like even if she buried it deep within herself, the fear still never left her.
也许是他认为，如果不能战胜对深渊的恐惧，总有一天会再次体会到失去亲人的痛苦。对后者的恐惧压过了前者，让他看上去变得很坚强。其实他从未忘记过小时候的那个夜晚，深渊放大了他一直压抑的情感。
How can we help her?
的确很棘手，我感觉需要一个契机。
Quali?
Quali, what are you doing with that weapon?
Show me the monster that hurt you! I'll make it pay! I'm going to protect you this time!
Calm down, Quali. That monster is already...
I can do it! I don't care what it takes! I just want her to get better. She's the only family I have left.
Family?
木头塔首领，先等等，科奇达好像有反应。
If Quali goes to battle, the Abyss will devour him. I can't let that happen. I have to do something. But it's useless. No one can beat the Abyss. It's a death sentence. Just like what happened to Mom and Dad. But I'm no warrior. I'm just a coward. Still, I have to protect Quali. What should I do?
Conchita.
Fight it. One more time?
我明白你的意思了，他现在已经找回了战斗的意志，只是对深渊的恐惧依旧根深蒂固。如果我们能想办法让他亲手击败一只深渊魔物，就能让他重新意识到深渊并没有那么强大吧。有我们在，也不至于会让他受伤。我觉得这个方法值得一试。话虽如此，现在去哪儿找深渊魔物？
Try checking the mountains to the north. A few fled in that direction after the battle. I dispatched a team to clear them out, so most of them should be gone. But there might still be a few stragglers.
那正好，我们现在就去。科奇达，还走得动吗？
There's no turning back. I have to face it, even if it will devour me whole.
I'm coming too! I'm not letting my sister face this alone! Not anymore!
好，那跟紧了，我们出发。
Be careful out there. I expect you all to come back safe. All right?
Yeah!
找到了，就拿他们开刀吧。还好吗，科奇达？不要勉强。要不我们先把这些魔物揍一顿，让他安心一些。似乎也不太好。我们在旁边保护吧，必要的时候再出手。You were the ones who killed them.
As a kid, I thought my parents were invincible. They were always so strong and gentle. They seemed like the most powerful people in the world. But I can still see the image of them collapsed at my feet that night. The raging fire, the smoke, the smell of blood, the sound of my brother's cries. It's all burned into my brain. They told me to run, and I could see the fear in their eyes. I've been running from my fears ever since. But why didn't my parents run? It must have been because...
You can do it!
Because of our family. When you have someone to protect, there's no backing down. No matter what.
Stay away from my brother!
Let's help her out!
Open fire! Bullseye! Open fire!
Hold the line!
I can do this. I have to do this.
Gather!
Allow me!
Go away!
Where are the rest? Where are they hiding?
没错，刚刚真是漂亮的一击，直接把那些魔物揍得灰飞烟灭。
That's impossible. They were gigantic beasts crawling with eyes, ready to devour everything in sight. No. Wait. What am I saying? Abyss monsters are not actually that scary. I've defeated them before. I know I have.
She's back to normal!
Kuchita!
What just happened? That is quite embarrassing. Sorry about that. I've always envied warriors who don't get scared or feel lost. It really felt like I was getting stronger over the years. But in the end, maybe I never made any progress at all.
太过勉强自己也不是一件好事，就像无休止的训练只会把身体搞坏。每个人都需要休息，而且今后许多事也不必一个人承担了，对吧？
Even though we're both scared of monsters, you were always the one who stepped up to protect me. But not anymore. I'm going to get stronger. From now on, we're in this together.
Is that so? Then I'll look forward to the day when you'll be all big and formidable. I finally feel like myself again. I couldn't have done it without you all. Thank you for everything. I think I'll rest here for a bit. I don't think I can make it back to the tribe just yet.
I'll keep you company.
也好，我已经观察过了，附近没有别的危险。 我们先回去吧，好好休息。日升日落，明天总会到来。哪怕内心深处仍有恐惧，只要向前走，都会迎来灿烂的未来。
I'll fight by your side until every last monster is gone.
That's very brave of you. But you know what would make me even happier? If this whole war would end tomorrow, so you would never have to fight at all.
Otoko's all better. Did you hear?
Really?
Yes, really. It's all thanks to the Traveler and Ion-san.
I see. I was wondering why the Traveler was chosen to accompany the Pyro Archon in the final battle. But I guess he really can do the impossible. So all those rumors about the Traveler really are true.
Kochita's getting better, too! Koichi, give me a hand for a sec. Right. Koichi's not... She's not here anymore. Koichi, give me a hand for a sec.
2人目も無事元に戻すことができたな。さすがは国をまたいで活躍する旅人。どんな問題でも解決策を見つけるなんてほんと頼もしい限りだぜ。それにあんたは周りの人に希望をもたらしてくれる。旅人があなたに来てから勝利への現実味が増してきた気がするんだ。
Yeah, honestly, Paimon was at a complete loss when she saw so many sick people on the hot air balloon platform. We only found a solution this time because you kept your cool and took control of the situation. You deserve most of the credit.
ありがたく受け取っとくぞ、その褒め言葉。何事も最初の一歩は難しいってよく言うけど、その一歩が難しいのは複雑に考えすぎてなかなか足を踏み出せないってだけなんだ。無理に決まってるとか、やっぱやめとこうとかよく耳にするだろ。でも目標を細かく分割すれば最初の一歩だってそれほど難しくないことに気づく。むしろこんなに簡単だったんだって思うことすらある。
Whoa, you're right. That makes a lot of sense.
だろ。例えばパイモンがさ、ダイエットのために肉を断ってグリーンスムージーだけをたくさん飲めって言われたらどう思う？お肉が食べられない上に苦いグリーンスムージーを1日3食何ヶ月も飲まなきゃいけないのかってきっとそう思うだろ。でも最初のうちはブレイズミートシチューの肉を2切れ減らして代わりにグリーンスムージーで栄養を補うことから始めればいい。いきなり苦行をする必要なんてないのさ。
That sounds like something Paimon could do, but would that really change anything?
継続は力なりって言うだろ。一朝一夕で成し遂げられることなんてない。一歩一歩の積み重ねが大事だ。知ってるか？私のコメには力って意味があるんだ。名前からして普通は背が高くて筋肉ムキムキの選手を想像しがちだけど、私はみんなが期待するような体格にはなれなかった。そのせいで疑いや失望の声もたくさん耳にしてきたぜ。たくましい選手からしたらなんで私がコメを受け継いだのか甚だ疑問だったろうしな。最初は私も戸惑ったよ。でも力の本質は問題を解決することにあるって気づいたんだ。屈強な体も強靭な精神もその手段の一つであって結果じゃない。だから壁にぶつかったら 問題をいくつかのステップに分けるようにしてるんだ。不可能そうに見えてもまずは行動してみる。失敗したっていい。だって世の中順風満帆に行くことばかりじゃないからな。ちょっとした経験則さ。役に立ってくれたら私も嬉しい。
Oh, well, when you put it that way, Paimon's almost encouraged to start drinking kale juice tomorrow. No, today. Paimon will start today. You're amazing, Ansan. You really make Paimon feel like she can do the impossible. Maybe your true strength is giving other people strength.
大げさだって。そんな凄技できるわけないだろ。あんたたちに絶望を乗り越える力が備わってるからだと思うぞ。各国を旅してきて遭遇した困難の数はきっと私の比じゃないはずだ。でも2人は足を止めなかった。それが証さ。私も見習わないと。ってことでこれからもよろしくな。
Ian-san! Bad news! Okoland is out of control!
落ち着け。すぐ行く。雑談している場合じゃなさそうだ。急いで向かおう。あともうひと踏ん張りだ。
What are you doing, Okoland? Wake up!
Don't you recognize us, my boy?
The Abyss monsters are everywhere. Everywhere. They've taken over the tribe. No corner is safe. Did we lose the battle? No. It's pointless to think about that now. A warrior only has one job. Fight until the very end.
Careful! He's not himself!
Huitztlan!
下がれ。話しかけても聞く耳を持ってくれないようだ。とりあえず抑えるぞ。手を貸してくれ。
Gather!
So, he thinks we're a big monster? Hey, it's okay! We're not the bad guys!
Come on! Give me your worst! Wretched Abyss! Get out of my tribe!
Solidify!
Hold the line!
Mom, Dad, Archon. This is my final battle.
Please, son. You've got to stop. You can't keep going like this.
Wretched monsters. Give me my family back.
Look, Okoland! That's your father! He's standing right in front of you!
Get out of my home. I'll never forgive you.
Are you alright, sir?
I'm fine. Please, don't hurt my son. He's just trying to protect his home.
心配すんな。私たちが何とかする。
But what should we do now? He's different from the other two. It's like he can't hear us at all. He keeps calling us monsters. We're basically enemies to him now.
Huitztlan.
強い闘争心に支配されてるみたいだ。でもこのまま放置しとくわけにもいかないし、何か方法は。
Abyssal corrosion syndrome. 500 years later, and it's resurfaced again.
Huh? That voice! It's...
同じ症状を見たことあるのか？
Direct contact with high concentrations of abyssal power causes irreversible mental trauma in most people. The exact presentation will vary according to trauma level. Some will suffer from superficial hallucinations and maintain the capacity to perceive the outside world. In such cases, verbal and physical interaction can be used to break through the hallucination. However, there are also those who are so far gone, entrenched in hallucinations so deep, that medical intervention is the only option. That's why we developed the Drought of Lucidity.
The Draft of Lucidity?
It's a kind of medicine that can dispel the psychological impact of the Abyss. The treatment comes with severe side effects, including chronic migraines for the rest of the patient's life, so it's reserved for the worst cases. This man is a devoted warrior, one not easily swayed from battle. That is precisely why it's so difficult to pull him out of this hallucination. If you trust me to be true to my word, give him this.
Wretched monsters! Setting up an ambush! Give me your worst. It's either your end or mine! Hurry! He's awake!
Please, give him the draft. My son thinks he's alone in this world. In his mind, all his family and comrades are gone, and only enemies remain. There's nothing more painful for a warrior than losing everything you fought so hard to protect.
Monsters! What's going on? Dad? What are you doing here? My head hurts. I just had the strangest dream. I dreamt the Abyss took over the tribe.
It's all right, my boy. It was just a nightmare. Let's go home. You need a good night's sleep. But first, I want to thank you for saving my son. May I ask your name?
Just Capitano is fine.
I owe you more than words can say, Mr. Capitano. My name is Mune. You're welcome in my home anytime. Time to go, son. Can you stand?
家までおぶってやるよ。旅人、また後でな。
Thank goodness everything turned out all right.
Think nothing of it. I agreed to offer you my aid, so this is merely a part of that duty. Besides, I care deeply about this land.
Right! When we were with Mavuika, you told us you and your soldiers defended Natlan against the Abyss 500 years ago.
That's right. My desire to protect this nation remains unchanged. When my platoon arrived in Natlan 500 years ago, like you, we were true outlanders. But as time passed, I encountered the people of this land and witnessed their desperate struggle against the Abyss. Though many of the warriors were rash and inexperienced, they were steadfast and fearless in battle, willing to do anything to protect their fellow citizens, oftentimes with complete disregard for their own survival. Just as I fought for the glory of Conria, they fought for the survival of their nation. We happened to share a common enemy, so I decided to offer my aid. We fought side by side to the very end. I traveled to many places after that, but I never forgot this land. Even now, my work in Natlan remains unfinished. They remember who I used to be. The Sentinel Knight, who fought with the Masters of the Nightwind. Still, I prefer to leave all that in the past. That name carries with it the glory of my homeland and the honor of Natlan. Yet, I failed to bring my soldiers home. And I failed to help Natlan defeat the Abyss.
But that's your fault. The Abyss is way stronger than any of us imagined.
You need not comfort me. I am no longer who I once was. Let the events of the past continue to collect dust in the annals of history. I will continue to help Natlan in my own way.
Like, with the draft of lucidity? Who knew you could make medicine? Were you a doctor before?
The drought was Guthred's invention. He was a respected military doctor, as well as my trusted second-in-command. We faced a similar situation to what you witnessed today. The endless battles against the Abyss triggered delusions among the soldiers, to the point where some attempted to kill each other. In order to develop a treatment as fast as possible, Guthred used himself as a test subject. He passed away shortly after the drought was complete. That's who he was. Unrelenting in his pursuits. No matter the cost, no matter the sacrifice. In the end, he even gave himself up for a chance at success. I'm sure he would be pleased his creation aids people even now. The Abyss has wrought enough suffering on this land. I sincerely hope this war will end soon.
Stop worrying about other people's survival, about their losses and sacrifices. You just need to win. That must be why I've returned. For this moment. Please finish what you set out to do, Commander.
You're more perceptive than I imagined. However, some things are better kept secret for now. We may be working together, but our goals are not entirely aligned.
What's with the secrets all of a sudden? Paimon's starting to think we should be more careful around you.
I do not mean to jeopardize the trust between us. I simply prefer to keep this to myself, because it's a personal matter. All I can tell you is this. Natlan may have survived the worst of the crisis, but the souls of this land are still not at peace. And that is why my work is not yet done.
Well, if it's personal, then we'll just have to trust you.
If you have other questions, I'm willing to answer them.
Wait, like anything? Paimon wants to know how you eat with the mask. Anything you want to ask, Traveler?
Natlan must pay the price for Mavuika's use of the Ruler of Death's power. That price is death. And only Mavuika's death can clear the debt. Even now that the war's over and the threat to Natlan is gone, it looks like that death is still set in stone.
In the garden cultivated by the gods, flowers and weeds grow side by side. When the weeds compete for nutrients in the soil, the gardener intervenes to inhibit their growth. I'm not one to pass judgment based on my own standard of right and wrong. But it is an undeniable fact that she is responsible for my suffering, as well as that of my people. If that explanation is too difficult to understand, allow me to show you exactly what I mean. The ruler of death can freely define the form of death, or grant immortality to anyone she desires. Her power is a rule in and of itself. Faced with such an overwhelming level of power, it can feel hopeless to resist. But I am of the belief that, in this world, no destiny is unchangeable, no death inevitable, and no rule unbreakable. So, before the final moment truly arrives, we must fight harder than ever.
Oi! 旅人! Paimon! おっと悪い。邪魔しちゃったか？おことらんを送った後、あたりを見て回ってたら、かがり木の民の伝達士に会ってな。あんたたちを探してたぞ。
Oh, did something happen?
米作りが次のステップに入ったらしい。シロネンが清少の旅寄り、つまり 前回あんたたちに渡した収集装置の進捗をチェックしたいんだってさ。私含めて何人かに声をかけてるみたいだ。後で一緒に聖火競技場に向かおう。
This is a critical time for you, Traveler. It's best not to delay, so let us end our conversation for now. Best of luck to you all. Goodbye.
本当に謎だよな、あの人。でも初めて会った時の威圧感はあんまり感じなくなった。私たちを仲間だって思うようになったのかな。さあ、聖火競技場に行こう。白年たちをあまり待たせるのも悪いしな。
So in the end, the captain still hasn't told us his real goal. It kind of reminds Paimon of someone we met recently. Oh, right, the Lord of the Night! They just seem so tired, you know? Since they've both been alive for many centuries, do you think that's just what happens when you've been alive for too long?
好慢！手等小混蛋，居然敢劳烦伟大的圣罗库乌拉阿乔在此久等，还不快快向我高山致歉，否则……
别听他胡说，我们也刚到。
Kinich, Kachina, Mualani? Whoa, everyone's here!
Reunited at last. Did you miss us?
I brought candy and cookies to share. Of course we missed you. Ooh, you brought Source crackers too? Score!
Just in time, Traveler. It's so stifling in here. I was just about to go outside to get some air.
It's the same temperature outside. Anyway, how was the trip here?
To be honest, I also didn't expect this many people to show up. A third of this amount is more than enough for my plan. I need to ask them about you, gather their thoughts and hopes. That will help the formation of your ancient name. Oh, you brought the Pilgrim's Chronicle, right? Yeah, let me take a look. Okay. The progress looks good. We have enough people, so let's get started.
Sorry I'm late.
Chaska showing up late for something? That's a first.
I had to follow a group of monsters further than expected. When I got back, I heard about what you did for my tribe. Thank you.
私にはお礼なんかいいからな。あんたが手を貸してくれてなかったら、北条の国の被害はもっとひどかったはずだ。それにうちの集落は人手が足りてたし、手伝いに行くのは当然だろ。
Okay, let's save the pleasantries for later. Everyone's here, so let's get started. Alright, let me remind everyone what's going to happen. I need each of you to stand before the Pilgrim's Chronicle and share your stories about the Traveler. Your words will be recorded and become a part of the Traveler's ancient name. Any, questions?
Nope.
Alright, then, to start things off...
Hold on. Remember what we discussed?
Oh, right, I almost forgot. Traveler, Paimon, you, can't be here for this part.
Huh? But why? We want to hear what everyone has to say.
I need people's true thoughts and feelings. It's best if the subject in question isn't involved. It's much more difficult to express those feelings to someone's face. People get shy in those situations. It's just how it is.
You're right. Just like when Paimon doesn't have enough more to pay for her meal, but she's too embarrassed to tell the Traveler, so she has to make up some excuse. So basically you want us to leave the Pilgrim's Chronicle here and wait nearby?
Oh, don't worry. This shouldn't take long.
Everything Shilonen said made sense, but did you see St. Lolly's reaction back there? She was definitely the one who decided we should leave. But staying out here is just making Paimon even more curious about what everyone's gonna say. Anyway, you're gonna have an ancient name soon. Ooh, that's so exciting! Feels like we've been in Natlan for quite a while already, doesn't it? right! If only Paimon could say a few things about you in there.
Well, looks like you're about to have that chance.
Shilonen, is everything all set?
Almost. We're just missing one last thing. You've been by the Traveler's side the longest, Paimon. We need to hear what you have to say.
But Paimon's not from Natlan.
Oh, it doesn't matter. As a Traveler's companion, your contributions are extremely important. You're the perfect person to finish the story. Sorry, Traveler. I just need to borrow Paimon for a second. It should be quick. Paimon gave us a lot, whew, and I mean a lot of information. I'm not even sure the Lord of the Night managed to get all of it.
Well, we've been to 6 nations already.
Here, you can have the Pilgrim's Chronicle back. I'll need it when I forge the name, but you can continue your adventures in the meantime. And when the time comes, I will forge you an ancient name unlike anything that's come before, so that you, Mavuika, and Natlan as a whole can finally put an end to this endless war. I'll need the Pilgrim's Chronicle back when I'm ready to forge the name. If there are still adventures you want to record, better finish them before then. I hope everything will go well. I swear, even I'm starting to feel nervous now.